Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're gonna talk about Vecna Eve of Ruin, and we are going to talk specifically about Windfall. Okay, so the player characters, the dungeon master characters, are on. I'm sorry, the player characters, the dragon master characters, are on Avernus, this first circle of hell, and they're in the Red Belvedere, and they come across Windfall. Now, who is Windfall? So Windfall is a henchman of Tiamat, right? So when we talk about villainy in Dungeons and Dragons, there's three levels. There's villains, that's Tiamat, right? Actually, it's interesting. Yeah, there's villains. That's Tiamat. I was thinking there might be a class over, like Uber villain, right? Like, yeah, I think Tiamat is kind of like an Uber villain, right? And then but no, we better keep it villain, henchman, minion. So Tiamat is a villain. Uh, Windfall is a henchman. Okay, somebody who's very dangerous and has a lot of agency and has been given power by a villain and has been empowered by a villain and empowered with authority, with equipment, with minions, right? So villains have minions and they have henchmen and then they have minions. And the reality is the best villains don't even deal with their minions. They don't even talk to their minions, right? They deal with their henchmen and they tell their henchmen, hey, you go, deal with the unwashed minions, right? And they do, right? So basically, I would say that, this gets interesting though. Oh my goodness, I'm right. Yeah, Tiamat is really an uber villain, right? And then you could say that Windfall is a villain, and then the pit masters, each of the pit masters, right? Rezrin, Algrodro, Kai Kirath, Uvashar, and then Kalen, Renadon. All those pit masters are really henchmen, and then they have demons and devils beneath them who are minions, right? So the best understanding of this is that Tiamat is an uber villain, Windfall is a villain, all the pitmasters are henchmen, and then bugbears, and actually we don't even need to go that far. I would say demons and devils specifically are the minions. They are the minions of Avernus. Very interesting, right? So you have all that happening, and it's very interesting just to see, to see all of that happening there. All right, so very, very interesting, just overall, consideration of what is happening on Avernus. But let's talk about Windfall. So Windfall is a villain who has been empowered by Tiamat. So Windfall has been given the powers of Tiamat. And this is really important. Listen very carefully to this. This has been happening more and more in Dungeons and Dragons. I think this started with Fizzbands, where you have a dungeon master character, right? An entity, right? Who is a humanoid size, right? So specifically, Windfall is an incredibly trusted servant of Tiamat. She's evil. Tiamat is evil. Windfall is evil. And Windfall, I'm pretty sure Windfall is a she. So I read through this chapter. I did not come away with a strong memory of if Windfall was male or female. And increasingly, I really feel like Dungeons and Dragons, generally, if they have a choice, they're going to go, if it's a strong character, it's going to be a female character. If it's a weak character, it's going to be a male character. It just seems to be a trend that they're following. It's a little disappointing. Like, I would like to see strong male characters presented in Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe we'll return to that at some point. It doesn't happen a lot right now. If it's a strong character, if it's an important character, if there's somebody doing something with weight, it's almost always going to be female now. But perfect example of that is the Wizards 3, right? Like, just read this book, right? Alustriel, strong, important, female. Tasha, strong, important, female. Mordenkainen, villainous, horrible, suck, male, right? Like it's very strong in Dungeons and Dragons. I am hoping that at some point representation is important, but I do think men are still worthy of representation. So this is, I'll just take 30 seconds. Hasbro, could you guys save some good, cool positions for men in the D&D canon hardbacks? It would be nice. Thank you. All right. So, like, I think representation is important, but I still think men still should have some representation. I think it's still not just the suck characters, but in the cool characters too, right? It'd be nice. All right, there you go. Just putting that out there. All right. So, so basically, we've reached this point where we see Windfall. Now, the Dragon Master characters meet Windfall in the casino. Windfall does not really have any major goals for the characters, and Windfall is essentially being foreshadowed earlier in chapter 8, because the Dragon Master characters will have to go against Windfall to get the final rod of 7 parts. So Windfall is being represented and shown early, right? And so that's why Windfall is here. But it's very important to understand, what is Windfall? Windfall is a very important thing. Let me explain what Windfall is. Windfall specifically is a dragon in human form, right? In humanoid size form. She has been given everything that is necessary to functionally be a dragon in the form of a human. And you're like, well, Scott, don't we already have that in Dragonborns? Absolutely not, right? Dragonborns have been game balanced to suck, right? They're just, whatever, just like another humanoid. Maybe a little bit of fire comes out of their mouth every now and then. Dragonborn are not dragons. They don't have any of the real fear and awesomeness of a dragon in a humanoid. Windfall is like a 5-star dinner in a Happy Meal package, right? Like, Windfall only takes 1 inch 5 squares, 5 foot square, 1 inch 5 foot square, right? Like, but she is an adult dragon, full on, right? She has flight at the level of an adult dragon. She has a weapon that functions as a breath weapon, right? She is incredibly dangerous, right? She has this coat of scintillating colors, which are all the colors of Tiamat herself, right? And the reason why is Tiamat has poured a portion of herself into Windfall. This is really big, right? Now you're like, well, why is that important? Because you have to understand Tiamat. And what's really astounding is I think I was born on this earth in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, to understand Dungeons and Dragons. Gary Gygax was born to build it. I was born to understand it, right? And I'm telling you this right now. You cannot understand Dungeons and Dragons without being an evangelical Christian, because there's so many things that are in Dungeons and Dragons that come from biblical origins. And so Tiamat, so evangelical Christians understand the Trinity, okay? And it's complicated. There are books and books and books that have written on it, and I've listened to 1,000 sermons that talk about the Trinity, right? That touch on the Trinity in a different way. Jesus, God the Father, the Holy Spirit, right? Tiamat is like this. She is not a dragon. She just doesn't sit in one place, right? Tiamat is on Avernus all the time, sitting in her Tiamat form, right? Red Belvedere literally is a temple to her, and everything said in that evil place where talons are being won and lost, and fortunes are being won and lost, and families are being destroyed, just like in our real world. Casinos destroy families. You know, the mom or the dad takes a 17-year-old kid's, this happens every single day in America. Every day, right? A mom or a dad takes a 17-year-old's, college savings and is like, you work at Taco Bell because I spent this at a casino. Loss. sorrow, horror. And that happens every minute at Red Belvedere. And the entire place has links for sound directly to Tiamat saying, someone just lost everything. Sorrow and ruin are poured into their lives. Drink it up. Drink their pain, Tiamat. And Tiamat does. She sits there and she enjoys everyone's pain and loss at Red Belvedere. At the same time, in the same moment, right? Tiamat is on Dragonlance as Takesis, right? Tiamat is not a dragon. She is the dragon. She can be on every Dungeons and Dragons realm simultaneously and still pour herself into Windfall like a cup of tea. And Windfall is an aspect of Tiamat. And so when the player characters come to Windfall, they can fight Tiamat. She has Tiamat's ferocity. She has a portion of her power. She has a portion of her sorrow and her angst, hunger, right? She is evil personified, right? And she's just a shard of Tiamat. Tiamat is everywhere, right? And you don't get this until you've sat under an evangelical Christian pastor. It's like, Jesus, God the Father, Holy Spirit, let me explain how these guys are all one, but they're all distinct. Well, you were like, wait, that don't even make no sense. And he's like, yeah, you're right. It doesn't make sense. You know why? Because it's profound and it's true and it's real and it's supernatural and it's beyond your understanding, right? What do you think Amanda Heyman is saying about Tiamat? She's real. She's profound. She cannot be contained in one form. She's dangerous. She's everywhere. She has wrath, right? She's not just something with fangs and wings you could stick a sword into, right? You can't kill Tiamat. It will eat you, spit out your bones, and then resurrect your bones into a new being. You don't know what you're dealing with here, right? And so the reality is the Dragon Master characters cannot actually fight Tiamat, right? But they can fight Windfall. And Windfall and her sword is a single fang, right, of Tiamat. And her robe of scintillating colors is more than that, and it represents her 5 colors of the head, her 5 chromatic colors: red, white, and blue, green, and black, exactly the colors of Magic the Gathering. Do you understand that? Do you understand that the colors of Magic the Gathering matched Tiamat's color 4 years before before Wizards of the Coast bought Dungeons and Dragons? Do you understand that the colors of Magic the Gathering are literally Tiamat's colors, right? The lore on Dungeons and Dragons is so incredibly deep. Windfall is an amazing character, and she's being foreshadowed here in Vecna, Eve of Ruin, and it is powerful. In my humble opinion, every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.